Hi, I'm Sarah, the US Podcast Ambassador for Ausha, the all-in-one podcast hosting and marketing platform. Our goal at Ausha is to help podcasters grow their podcast, and for that, we are always developing new tools. If you want to check it out, we have a free 15-day trial for you. Just click the link below. Today is all about the launch of your podcast and the 5 mistakes to avoid, because you want to get started off on the right foot. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Tips. At Ausha, we work with podcasters every day who are in the process of getting their podcast launched. And we see the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. So don't make the same mistakes, and let's talk about them. Here's the first one. When you have an idea for a podcast, you really need to ask yourself some questions before you pour your heart and soul into the project. A podcast is a project that is going to take a lot of time and energy, so it's really important that you're passionate about the project before you start, especially in the beginning when you probably won't have a lot of listeners. You'll need the motivation to keep going because at least you are interested in what you're saying. So once you've identified the subject of your show, before you even start writing anything or recording anything, it's important to make a list of 10 or 15 potential future episodes. This step is really important because it's going to help you identify whether your podcast is viable or not. If you come up with a topic that's too specific and you can't think of more than a couple episode ideas, you may need to rethink your approach so you can have some more material. There's no need to go to a professional recording studio to record your podcast. You do not even need to invest hundreds of dollars to make your podcast sound good. But there is some essential equipment that you will need to maintain good audio quality, which is going to retain your audience for the long run. Let me just give you an example. Mistake we see often, one definitely to avoid. You often see podcasters recording just with their computers, just with their PCs. No microphone. It gives me cold sweats at night. It gives me anxiety. It makes me crazy. For the love of God, get yourself a real microphone, please, and a decent pair of headphones. I beg of you. If you want to know more about the different microphones you can use, I suggest you check out the previous episode of Tips. Please go check it out. The third mistake to avoid when launching your podcast is not being consistent in releasing your episodes. Regularity, consistency, it's very important in the podcasting world. I feel like I say it in every video, and I probably do say it in every video, but consistency is really important for the algorithms, but it's also important for your audience who knows that you're releasing new episodes on a regular basis. By being consistent with your schedule, you're creating a relationship with your audience and creating the expectation and desire for them to tune in regularly and subscribe. Imagine if your favorite show or podcast was released every Tuesday, but then sometimes it came out on Wednesdays, and sometimes there were like 2 weeks before it came out, and then you just didn't hear from them for 3 months. That would be really annoying, and you would probably stop listening. I know I look forward to the release date of my favorite podcast, so it definitely works. But in order to be consistent, it's important to choose a publishing schedule that matches with your lifestyle, okay? If you start with a daily schedule, which is very ambitious, by the way, and you have a full-time job, I think you're gonna find yourself in over your head. So just make sure you choose something that you can stick to, that you can keep up with, and that is what? Consistent!
Consistent!
He's not listening! The fourth mistake to avoid is not preparing your episodes in advance. Even if you're looking for a natural and relaxed tone, you need to do some preparation. Every good podcast has good preparation. If you're interviewing people, you need to prepare. If you're doing an educational podcast, you need to prepare. If you're doing a podcast about how to launch a podcast, you need to do what, Robin?
You need to prepare.
Thank you! Every type of podcast has its own preparation. You cannot just rely on talent alone, even if you're extremely talented, like me. Here's a hot tip. If you write a script, make sure you say it out loud before hitting the record button. It will help with your script sounding more natural because how we write and how we speak are not always exactly the same. And make sure to give yourself some space for some improv as well. You can be natural and you can be prepared. It is possible. Look at the beauty that is this YouTube channel. The last mistake we see far too often is not paying attention to your podcast intros and outros. The intro is what makes listeners stay and listen to the rest of your podcast. And it's very important to work on it for every episode because you never know at which episode someone's going to start listening to your show. The outro is where you're going to ask your community to support your show, to like, share, and subscribe. It's where you speak directly to your community. So you should definitely use those last few seconds to invite your audience to do something more than just listen to your show, but actually interact and engage with you. And that's how you can grow your show from episode to episode. At Ausha, we've gone into even more detail about how to get your intros and outros absolutely perfect, and you can hear about them on our podcast tips, and the link is below. Finally, to go even further with the development of your podcast, please visit our website, ausha.co, to discover all of the tools we've made for podcasters to make your lives easier. I hope this video helped you. If it did, please like it, please share it, and please subscribe to our channel. So that way you will not miss all our great future tips. Thanks so much. See you later. Bye.